Good afternoon. Pleasure to see you all. I have my full team here, my deputy campaign managers with me, my two deputies, Cara Kennedy Cuomo and Mariah Kennedy Cuomo. They are very expensive, but they are very good. And they don't work overtime. Let me make a couple of points and talk about education. But let's say in the beginning, there is a difference between politics and government, right? We're in the middle of a campaign, and this is all about the ability to govern. The campaign is the means to the end. The end is government. And government, then, is about making a difference in people's lives. It's about policies that actually change. And it's supposed to change people's lives for the better. I think a lot of what's been happening in this country is an alienation or frustration because my life isn't getting any better. And I'm paying my taxes, and I'm going backwards. I'm not going forward. And I don't know who the government is working for, but it's not working for me, right? That's the backdrop that we want to reinvent the New York City government in light of. What is the single most important four-letter word for government? It's jobs. New York City survives because it is driving the economy. It's attracting businesses, attracting corporations, it's attracting entrepreneurs. Young people are coming here. Companies are coming here because young people are here. And it's all about opportunity. That's why I so oppose Mamdani's anti-capitalist mentality and agenda, because this city is all about capitalism, not socialism. And if you are anti-capitalist, you're anti-business, anti-corporation, that's economic death for New York City. Then why would they come here? Why would they stay here if literally the leadership is anti-them? So one of the key proposals that I'm making during this campaign is building the economy of tomorrow today. What's the next economy? What's the next cluster that we can attract here? How do we make New York City the AI capital? How do we get all those new businesses that are starting up and say, come here, this is the critical mass if you want to be in the AI industry? Before you get to attracting businesses and jobs, the foundation is the education system and having the educated workforce. And that is our public education system, right? Which has always been one of the chief responsibilities of government. The New York City school system is the largest in the United States. 1 million students, 1,800 schools, 150,000 staff. Largest in the United States. We spend more on education than any state in the nation. We are projected to spend about $36,000, which is about double the national average, okay? We're spending about twice what other states are spending. And one of the points people raise is, I don't mind paying taxes, but I want to make sure I'm getting something for the taxes that I pay, right? So we're paying almost double the national average per student. But the performance in our schools lags way behind. And this is not a new situation, and it is more difficult because it's more ingrained. The more attempts you have at reform and the more failures, actually the harder it gets to make changes. But you have about 40% that are failing. It's especially true in communities of color. And the racial impact is really dramatic, especially in New York City. What has been done in response, because the students' scores were failing, is they lowered the passing rate. It was like marking on a curve on steroids. So because everybody was failing, or a large number were failing, they actually lowered the passing level, which made it sound like it was improving when really they just reduced the bar. It has been getting progressively worse. Families know it, and families are leaving. You talk to families that are leaving New York City. They're here single, they're here as a couple, they have a child, they're here. The child is school-aged, they move. And they move out to the suburbs. Why? Because it's about educating their child. And they don't believe New York City's education system is going to give their child a rigorous education. So literally, they're moving because they think the public education system isn't working. Well, then stay in Manhattan and send your child to a private school. I can't afford it. It's very expensive. It's hard to get in. I'd rather just move to Nassau, Westchester, or somewhere else where they actually have good public schools. The enrollment has continued to decline. The ancillary to that is we needed those students getting educated to fuel the economy. Now, what could make it worse? What could make it worse would be to reverse what's called mayoral control. The single greatest education reform that has occurred has been mayoral control, where the mayor of the city of New York actually took accountability for the public education system, and the mayor was in charge. Mamdani wants to end mayoral control. That is reckless and dangerous and irresponsible, and suggests he has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to public education. Mayoral control was the reform, because before mayoral control, you had local community school boards that were elected, that were highly political. Nobody really turned out to vote for these school boards, less than 5%, and they were very political, so all the positions were patronage. And the assemblyman's brother was the principal, and the assemblyman's sister was in charge of admission, and the senator and the local district leaders. And they were little political fiefdoms, the school districts. To get away from the politics of it, they went to mayoral control. This would be a major step back. So first, you have to keep mayoral control. Second, with mayoral control, you have to overhaul the system and fundamentally overhaul it. Why? 40% of New York schools, less than half of the students are proficient in math, and fewer than half proficient in English language arts. 40% of the schools. What do? We have talked about this for years. What do? You overhaul the school system where you close those schools that are failing. Close the underperforming schools. How do you define an underperforming school? Average 5 years, ranked in the bottom 5% of all schools on the state test, or average over 5 years maintains an average graduation rate below 60%. If one of those two criteria are met, it means you are an underperforming school. We right now have underperforming schools that have been underperforming for decades. You can go to some neighborhoods in this city, and you will talk to a child in a school whose brother and sister and older cousin all went to that same school and had been failed for generations. When you close an underperforming school, the mayor would be in charge of replacing it with a new school. The new school could be a charter school, an early college, high school, a specialized school, and innovation school. But it would be a new school. And that school will then have a 5-year performance contract and will be selected in accordance with the local community. Overall, the education system will focus on 3 core values: access, excellence, and innovation. On access, we should put pre-K and 3K, citywide, universal, co-located wherever you can, establish a community school development fund, and universal after-school programs, period. We've been talking about it for a long time. It's time to do it. In terms of excellence, we have specialized high schools that are excellent. Stuyvesant, Bronx High School of Science, Brooklyn Tech. Everybody wants to get into Stuyvesant. Everybody's upset that there's such competition about Stuyvesant and Bronx High School, Brooklyn Tech, et cetera. Double the number of specialized high schools. There are now 9, go to 18. Expand and protect charter schools, and build a data system. On innovation, modernize the curriculum to work for today's economy. What we call teach where it counts. Pay an incentive to the teachers who have the skills we need to teach a student so they have the skills ready for the high-tech economy. And launch a $100 million high-demand jobs accelerator program, because you have specialized businesses that literally can't find the talent to employ. I love New York City school teachers. I love the profession. My mother was a New York City school teacher. I have great respect for them. It is the system that has failed the student and the teacher. And there are 1 million reasons why Assemblyman Mamdani's proposal is a radical mistake. It's bad for our kids, it's bad for the economy, it's bad for the future. Yes, you have to have mayoral control, and yes, you just must use mayoral control to overhaul the system. Let's end where we started. Government, you're supposed to make a difference in my life. You were supposed to help me. The basic promise that brought people to New York, that brought people to America, come here, and with a public education system, you can get an education that will allow you to go up the ladder and become whatever you want. That's God bless America. That is, you can come here, poor Italian immigrant, your child goes to public school, winds up being the governor of the state of New York from public school. That's what brings immigrants from all around the world. It's that education system. We never say, we're going to give you wealth, we're going to give you success. The streets weren't lined with gold, but we will give you an education system where if you work hard, you will fly as high as your talents will take you, just from a public education system. That's mobility. That's opportunity. That gives me hope. That's aspirational. If you take that away from me, now I think my child is going to do less than I accomplished. And that's not what this is supposed to be about. And that's where we are today. We must do better, we can do better, we will do better. We always have, we always will. Questions? You want to take a break before questions? Don't shake your head at me. I thought you might be hung. No. Come on, Gloria.
I feel like I have to start with the city. Sam, do you have anything?
Chips, A.K. cash. I've heard a lot of expressions. We went into a new place, chips, A.K. cash. Look, frankly, it is embarrassing for the city of New York. It's sad for the city. We were talking about how people feel frustrated with government and alienated from government, and that government isn't working for them. And then there seems to be this never-ending series of government corruption that just continues. And it's sad, it's embarrassing, it's depressing, and then you wonder why people don't believe in government, right? So many reforms to stop what was called pay-to-play, to stop special access for donors, right? Campaign limits, campaign finance boards, all these elaborate reforms. And now you have a pattern of people want something from the government, and pay to play. It's for friends. It's for special access. The real estate guys want something from government. They make a political contribution. They hire the right consultant. They hire the right lobbyist. You want to get a casino, make sure you hire the right guy. You know, that's what makes people depressed and alienated. And it is a continuing, ongoing series to the extent where it was an international joke with this last incident, right? So it's sad. Look, I believe in government. I've been in government all my life. My father was in government. I believe deeply in it. And this makes it a mockery. It plays to the worst impression that you could have. It feeds the worst cynicism. It's all for sale. Government for sale, right? It's who you know. It's who you hire. It's a bunch of cronies, and if you have to hire the right crony to get something done. It's exactly opposite what government should be. And it has been going on for the duration of the Adams administration. And that's before you get to the mayor himself. This is just the people around him, right? Banks Brothers, police commissioners, Pearson. I mean, the names, Winnie Greco, we already went through this once with Winnie Greco. So, yes, it's all of that. And I don't think Eric Adams is a viable candidate for mayor again.
To that point, Governor, do you believe that he should drop out of the race?
That is his decision. I don't believe he is viable. I believe this is a race that is between myself and the assemblyman. And I think that was the case. I think it's more clearly the case. I think New Yorkers have made it clear that they just have had enough of Mayor Adams. And I think Mayor Adams' deal with President Trump was disqualifying. I think when he made a personal arrangement that benefited him with the President of the United States at the cost of the people of New York City, that was disqualifying.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Governor, the mayor's sticking behind two of the people that have been indicted today that have been longtime friends. What do you think that says about him? And also this idea, you know, that he said he's made mistakes in the past, but two of his close confidants are now being indicted. You know, what does it say about this type of administration, the way he manages this city?
Look, it's been the same almost from day one, right? it has been the same pattern, just the names change. And these constant series of corrupt activities. You want to call it pay to play, you want to call it cronyism, it's access the government for donors, access the government for people who hire his former campaign aides, his former chief of staff, his former first deputy mayor, his campaign chairman. You want something done, you have to hire the right guy. You know, that's Tammany Hall, right? We were supposed to be a long way from that.
I wanted to follow up. Should New Yorkers believe him when he says he's made mistakes and now he's reformed, that he has distanced himself from these types of things in light of this new indictment?
Well, these were people who worked with him, who left, and who he brought back, right? So he had this experience already. But to me, what was most disturbing was, yes, you can talk about the mayor's administration and the chronic corruption throughout the administration. But it was the mayor's indictment and then the mayor's deal with President Trump, which was an abuse of the justice system, and the mayor making a deal with in the old stereotype, made a deal with the president to benefit him at the cost of New Yorkers. He would cooperate with the president's immigration policy, which happens to violate the law of the city of New York and the state of New York. But he would cooperate if the president dropped the charges against him. Well, he wanted the charges against him dropped. I understand. But you were supposed to represent the people of the city. And you made an arrangement for yourself that was beneficial. But you sold out the people of New York City. You were supposed to protect them. That was the job. That is unforgivable. That is unforgivable.
So New Yorkers shouldn't trust him then?
I think that is unforgivable, what he did.
So because you think it is unforgivable, and because you just mentioned his willingness to make a deal with the Trump administration, you said you just sold out New Yorkers, why are you stopping short of calling for his resignation? Is it because you yourself were forced to resign after many people called for your resignation? Why not say?
No, it's a personal decision. The situations are totally different, but that's up to him. And forget that question, because we're in the middle of an election, so you're talking about a number of weeks, right? Anyway, people have to decide who the next mayor is going to be. I'm saying I don't believe he is a viable choice for New Yorkers, given all of this. By the way, given just the performance as mayor, just performance. I don't think people believe the city is headed in the right direction. I don't believe they believe city's been making progress. The jobs numbers in the city are terrible. We're still losing people in the city. So just on performance as mayor, then you have these issues of corruption, and then you have his deal with President Trump. So I don't think he is a viable candidate. And we're talking, we're almost Labor Day, we're talking December.
Last question, Georgia.
Do you think Eric Adams is a bigger danger to New York City than Mamdani?
Jeez, that's a toughie. That is a toughie. Who is more dangerous? I don't know. I don't know, but they both scare me. I can tell you that. I do think, I think President Trump has Eric Adams as a wholly owned subsidiary, right? So I believe President Trump really wanted to control New York City. And by making the arrangement with Adams, he basically got control of New York City. Mayor Mamdani, if he wins, I will bet you Trump takes control of New York City within hours of his inauguration, if he were to be elected. What he did in California, what he did in DC, Trump would say, this person cannot keep New York City safe. Send in the National Guard. President Trump to the rescue to save New Yorkers. So in both cases, you get President Trump. But between the two, I don't know. Very, very tough choice. But New Yorkers shouldn't have to make that choice. Thank you, guys.
If the president were to send the National Guard in, should you become mayor, how would you deal with that if he says, New York City's still out of control, I'm going to send the National Guard in?
I think, Gloria, that it's not even close, but that I am in the best position to protect New York from President Trump. As I said, Eric Adams is a wholly owned subsidiary. As I said, the president has already said, Mamdani, he would have to take control of New York City. I mean, he's already forecasted it, right? He'll say just what he said in DC. People aren't safe. And by the way, you can look at New York, any New York City street and pick up any tabloid any day and say, New York City isn't safe. He can say the public education system isn't working in New York City, right? So President Trump, I believe, would take over from Mayor Mamdani in a matter of hours, if he even waited for the inauguration. I believe I'm in the best position to protect New Yorkers against President Trump. Why? Because I have done it. I did it. I did it on multiple occasions, on very difficult issues. They demanded to have the driver's licenses turned over when we did driver's licenses for undocumented people. I refused. They cut off what's called the Trusted Traveler Program. They refused to fund New York. I went down to the White House. We had a very heated discussion in the Oval Office. He investigated me twice with the Department of Justice as a means to intimidate me into cooperation. So we have had battle royales a number of times. And New York has done very, very well. Now, he's the President of the United States. That has a lot of power. He's also very aggressive about using his power. But if there's anyone who, if you're looking for a mayor who can stand up and fight to defend New York, then I don't think it's a close call. I think I'm in the best position to do that. I've gone 12 rounds with President Trump a few times. Thank you, guys.
I want to ask you about your presentation. The mayor and the city just put out numbers on math and reading. Do you think those numbers are inflated then, based on your presentation?
These are the numbers that I have. Enjoy the potato chips, but they're
Your
just